Man United prepare £51 million transfer bid as Aston Villa threat emerges. Manchester United are due to look for a midfielder this summer, with several players potentially exiting in a brutal transfer cull. Manchester United are reportedly willing to part with £51 million to land Atalanta midfielder Teun Koopeminers. The Dutchman has been linked with a Premier League move in recent weeks, most notably Liverpool, having previously worked under new head coach Arne Slot. United could see several exits in midfield this summer, and would need restocking. Koopeminers is the only midfielder exempt from a sale, with Casemiro is widely tipped to leave and Donny van der Beek due to exit after his failed loan spell at Frankfurt during the second half of the season. Christian Eriksen, 32, may also depart with a year left on his deal, as Sir Jim Ratcliffe looks to be ruthless in his summer transfer dealings. United not only supposedly have competition for the signature of Koopeminers from Liverpool, but also are said to have Juventus to contend with. However, Calcio Mercato claims United are willing to take a plunge on the 26-year-old and table a bid of around £51 million, €60 million, for the playmaker, who is set to feature for the Netherlands at this summer's European Championships. Discussions could be slowed by his participation in the tournament. Meanwhile, L'Équipe says Aston Villa are ready to battle United for the signature of OGC Nice centre-half Jean-Claire Todibo. United are hoping to recruit 2 new centre-backs this summer, and have just been given more clarity over Jarrad Branthwaite's price tag. The Everton defender and Bayer Leverkusen star Edmund Tapsoba are on the club's radar, while Todibo has been frequently linked due to his connection with Ratcliffe, who has owned Nice through Ineos since 2019. Todibo had a trial with United over a decade ago. Villa are expected to use the carrot of Champions League football to beat Europa League participants United to Todibo, who was evasive when asked about his future last month. He said, "Honestly, I don't want to talk about my future, because of my respect for the fans here and the club also. But we had a little discussion, for sure. My ambition is to play in the best competitions in the world and try to be the best version of me." Man United transfer state of play, Neves stumbling block, Branthwaite deadline, Ten Hag factor. The transfer window opens on Friday, and Manchester United have a busy summer ahead of them as Ineos look to reshape the squad. The countdown clock is ticking towards the opening of the Premier League transfer window on Friday, but at Manchester United there are more pressing matters to attend to first. As we enter week 3 of Ineos season review, decision on the future of Erik Ten Hag is imperative in the next 7 days. There is a refusal to put a time frame on finalizing the evaluation of 2023-24, but providing clarity over the position of a manager is vital heading into the window. It is set to be a busy one at Old Trafford as well. Incomings are guaranteed, but the quantity of business done in Ineos' first window in charge is very much dependent on how much can be raised from outgoings. With Dan Ashworth still tending to his garden, it is technical director Jason Wilcox who will be string puller-in-chief this summer. For now, there are some more routine decisions to mull over. Talks continue with Johnny Evans and Tom Heaton over potential contract extensions, and the possibility of taking the option to sign Sofian Amrabat permanently is essentially on hold until Ten Hag's future is resolved. There are a couple of key priorities when it comes to arrivals. At least one new centre-back will be signed, and a striker to replace Anthony Martial and share the burden with Rasmus Højlund is also required. Jarrad Branthwaite is a leading target at centre-back, and the first deadline of the window looms large. Everton could look to sell before June 30th to improve their own PSR position. A valuation of £75 million would put United off, who have PSR concerns of their own to deal with. Bremer and Edmund Tapsoba are alternative targets, and, depending on departures, 2 central defenders could be signed. There is also likely to be turnover in midfield, with Casemiro a likely departure, potentially to the Saudi Pro League. A potential replacement who has been linked to United in recent windows is João Neves, Benfica's 19-year-old midfielder who is part of Portugal's Euro 2024 squad. He has been linked with several Premier League clubs, and a release clause in excess of £100 million would make a move to United almost impossible this summer. For now, the focus is on departures. Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho will return from loan spell at Borussia Dortmund and Getafe respectively this summer, and permanent exits for both are the ideal solution. The same is true for Donny van der Beek, but finding a buyer might be harder to achieve. Then there are a string of squad players who could be sold. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Victor Lindelof are among them, although the reality is almost every player in this squad has a price on his head as Ineos seek to raise funds. That includes captain Bruno Fernandes, although United would much rather keep him. Manchester United transfer stance on £75 million Jarrad Branthwaite as price tag reality emerges. Manchester United are admirers of the Everton defender but will not pay over the odds for the England international. Manchester United are interested in Everton centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite but won't be held to ransom if the Toffees seek a quick deal. Everton want between £70 million and £80 million for the 21-year-old, who was axed from the England squad for Euro 2024 this week, and they could seek to do a deal before June 30th to help them comply with the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, PSR. But United are also in a delicate position around PSR, and while they are interested in Branthwaite, they have a number of other centre-backs on their list of targets, including Juventus' Gleison Bremer and Bayer Leverkusen defender Edmund Tapsoba. United's technical director Jason Wilcox is set to lead this transfer window, along with the club's director of football negotiations Matt Hargreaves, as Ineos wait on a start date for sporting director Dan Ashworth. United will need to sell players to boost this summer's transfer budget, having failed to qualify for the Champions League. News on Merseyside this weekend suggested Everton are fearing a Branthwaite departure which could be accelerated after he was left out of England's Euro 2024 squad. Everton are attempting to hold out for a £75 million fee, and the Toffees insist they will not be bullied into selling Branthwaite on the cheap, with claims of a Goodison Park fire sale this summer wide of the mark. Sean Dyche's side are using the £80 million fee that United paid for Harry Maguire in 2019, the £75 million Chelsea paid for Wesley Fofana in 2022, and the £77 million Manchester City paid for Josko Gvardiol as barometers. The 21-year-old Branthwaite signed a new Everton deal until 2027 in October, and the length of his contract, age, position, and nationality have protected his value. He started in 41 of Everton's 45 games in 2023-24, having played 36 times on loan at PSV Eindhoven the previous season, and has also not agitated to leave. United want a new centre-back this summer, with Raphael Varane departing. They remain in talks with Johnny Evans over a potential extension. United have recruited a centre-back in 5 of the last 8 summer transfer windows, but Lisandro Martinez is the only one effectively assured of staying next season. The 26-year-old managed a meager 14 appearances this season due to metatarsal, medial collateral ligament, and calf injuries, but excelled in the FA Cup final triumph over City. Harry Maguire, 31, is out of contract next year, though United have the option of an additional year. The former club captain had a commendable campaign after a £30 million move to West Ham collapsed in August. I know Marcus Rashford well. He'll have an exciting Man United plan after losing England place. Marcus Rashford struggled to impress this season, but he remains one of the most dangerous forward in Europe. Phil Jones has questioned whether England are better prepared for Euro 2024 without Marcus Rashford. Gareth Southgate omitted the Manchester United forward from the Three Lions squad following a disappointing campaign. While the Red Devils managed to win the FA Cup and secure Europa League qualification, Rashford struggled to impress this season. He featured 33 times in the Premier League, scoring just 7 goals and only providing 2 assists. Despite earning an England call-up in March, the 26-year-old forward lost his place in the starting lineup. Across 2 friendlies, Rashford was given a 15-minute cameo off the bench in a 1-0 defeat to Brazil, and was then an unused substitute against Belgium a couple of days later, with Anthony Gordon, Jarrod Bowen, and Eberechi boasting far more impressive seasons. Rashford was dropped from the England squad for the European Championships. In an exclusive interview with Ladbrokes 1-2 Jones described his former Manchester United teammate as a magic match winner. Listen, the type of players that England have got to pick from these days, it's an absolutely incredible pool of talent, and so you're always going to be left with a couple of big players missing out. Obviously Marcus Rashford is the big call. Jordan Henderson hasn't played as much football this season, you know, he went out to Saudi Arabia and then obviously moved to Ajax. He's a massive character in and around that dressing room, and his experience will be missed, but Rashford is the one I would identify as the biggest decision. The former Red Devils defender added, "It's a tough call, and I'm not saying it's the right or wrong call. I always think Marcus, even if he's not had the season he'd have liked, has the ability to do something special. I know him as a person, and as a player, and I think he could have certainly offered something, especially in games where we're struggling to break teams down. You know, he's got that little bit of brilliance, that little bit of magic where he can just take it out of his feet, whip one in the top bin, and win you the game. But, again, there are so many talented players to choose from, so there's always going to be someone who misses out, and unfortunately it's him this year. I know he'll be so determined to make that right, and get back into the international setup as soon as possible. Marcus has had a lot of criticism in recent years, but people don't really know him as a person. It's easy to judge people from the outside. It's easy to call people out when you're not involved, and you've not been in and around that environment. It's very easy to judge people. Marcus is incredibly talented. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. He's got a strong mentality, he's level-headed, and he has a good support network around him. I'm sure he'll come back firing next season. I'm sure he'll have a good pre-season. He's the type of guy who'll go away this summer and work on himself, making sure he's in the best possible condition to start next season. He'll know there is pressure on him next season, but I have no doubt that he'll have a much better season than perhaps the one he's just had. Luke Shaw reveals who is to blame for Man United injury troubles as Erik ten Hag role explained. Luke Shaw played through the pain barrier for Manchester United in a bid to prove his fitness to Erik ten Hag. Luke Shaw has expressed his frustration at Manchester United's decision to rush him back from injury, which almost cost him a place at Euro 2024. Shaw was named in Gareth Southgate's final England squad for the upcoming tournament in Germany, despite not featuring at club level since the Reds' win over Luton Town in February. Laying the blame with Erik ten Hag and his medical staff for taking a chance with his availability by starting him in this fixture at Kenilworth Road, having been forced off with a hamstring injury the previous week, the United left-back is aware he should not have been picked. Opening up on this experience and how he now reflects on this decision, Shaw said, "I felt something against Aston Villa and came off at half-time. I didn't train the whole week, and when the scan came back, there wasn't too much there. I then trained the day before the game, at Luton, and if the manager asks me to play, I'm never going to say, no, but I shouldn't have played. It's kind of everyone's fault. Partly my fault, partly the medical staff. I think everyone would admit that." The defender's hopes of making the squad for the FA Cup final ultimately never came to pass, continuing the injury woes suffered by Ten Hag during the 2023-24 season. Shaw is not fit to start England's opening game at Euro 2024, though Southgate has hinted he could return for the Three Lions' second group stage game. Some United supporters were left bemused by the former Southampton star being called up for the Euros after being on the sidelines for months, leaving the 28-year-old disappointed that his commitment has been called into question. "I got a few people coming up to me, saying, 'How can you not be fit for United but fit for England?' No one knew the situation. I was actually very close to returning to team training," he explained. "I was pushing to try and get back for the games and the final, FA Cup, and I think I pushed too hard. I came back too quickly and ended up getting another injury in my hamstring. It was 3 weeks from the final and the doctors, said it was a 6-week injury. It's been disappointing for me, but I want to do everything I can, first and foremost, for United. I have always said that the United team comes before everything for me, and that will never change." Man United in double transfer swap claim as Michael Olise update emerges. Latest Manchester United transfer news and rumours as Ineos prepare for the opening of the summer window on June. Man United in double transfer swap claim as Michael Olise update emerges. Latest Manchester United transfer news and rumours as Ineos prepare for the opening of the summer window on June 14. Manchester United face a busy summer as they prepare for their first transfer window under the co-ownership of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos group. United may have yet to decide on the future of Erik ten Hag, but the new structure put in place should mean that any potential deals will not be influenced by who the manager is. Therefore, the club's plans for who could be signed and sold should be well underway ahead of the window opening on June 14. And Gazzetta dello Sport have claimed that Mason Greenwood has agreed to join Juventus after his loan spell at Getafe in 2023-24. However, it is said that the Serie A giants cannot afford the United forward, with the club rumoured to want between £35 million and £40m. It is claimed that Juve will offer talented England U-21 international Samuel Illing Jr. to secure a cheaper deal for Greenwood. It is also said that winger Federico Chiesa could also be a possible player used in any potential deal. Elsewhere, the London Evening Standard are claiming that Chelsea are ready to battle United for the signature of Crystal Palace star Michael Olise. The Blues were heavily linked with the winger last summer before he opted to sign a new deal at Palace, but the report claims that Chelsea will revisit a move this summer amid reports of a £60 million release clause, although the structure of the buyout fee could mean that he is allowed to leave for less. In other news, The Athletic report that Barcelona must find €130 million before June 30 if they are to make any signings, leading to suggestions that United could revisit a deal for Frenkie de Jong. United were engaged in a protracted transfer saga in the summer of 2022 as they attempted to sign de Jong. The report claims that the Dutch midfielder could be available for €80 million, £68 million, this summer, but that fee could drop nearer to the deadline Barcelona have been set. Arsenal have also been linked with the 27-year-old.